We need that. Yeah, what is
Hi, good evening, all of you. Can you hear me? Is my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. So, may I know roughly how many students are there in this batch? Now, 15 have joined. How many are? I want to know whether I should wait for some time until some more students come. Right. Anyway, let's start the work as the time is passing quickly. Right. So if you don't hear me properly, just let me know. Okay. Right. I will share my screen. Okay. Can you see the screen? My screen? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Now, there's a lot I have to tell you at the very beginning because the previous weeks I couldn't start the discussion of this module no? Due to one reason. 1 week I could not do due to a personal reason, and the other week because of the Hoya day. Okay, right. So now today, then we are starting our discussions on this subject. The name of the module is the linguistic structure of modern English, right? Quite lengthy name, but while we are doing the work, you would be familiar with the content and what we are going to discuss, and also how you would be tested on the content of this module, and all these things you will be familiar, right? Okay. So before that, actually, I should tell you now this is online. Although this is online, you need to, right? Uh, Attend the lectures, and also not simply attending, right? Not simply logging to the meetings. Whenever possible, you are required to talk actually, right? Have the interaction. Now you can see I have switched on my video, and all the time I may not switch on my video, especially when I'm sharing my screen with the PowerPoint slides and all these things. I may disappear, but still you can hear me. And the only thing is I don't hear you and I don't see you, right? I don't want to see you, but I want to hear from you. Because if you get any doubt or any area which is not clear from the discussion, I expect that you would switch on your mics and talk. Otherwise, there is no means available for me to know whether you all are getting what I'm telling here, whether my the facts are clear to you or whether you can understand and all these things. I can't get, right? I don't know if you do not share, right? If you do not talk. So therefore, interaction I value a lot. although this is online forum, right? I may be asking questions then and there. So you need to respond. And at the same time, you are also quite free to ask questions. So let's do this work like this in an interactive manner. Okay, otherwise, just don't be there passively listening to what I'm telling. Sometimes some students may think that, okay, that you can just log into the meeting and you can mind your own business. No, because so many areas are not familiar to you, I hope, right? Certain areas may be new to you, which we are discussing. So therefore, you need to involve yourselves in the discussion. Then only you can get your doubts clarified. Okay, right. So hope you got my message. And right then. So let's start our discussion. As I told, now this is the title of the module. Right. Okay, give me 1 second. Right. So let me share you the contents of this module. You can see total, there are 24 hours allocated for this module. And we do 2-hour sessions, right? We have 2-hour sessions, which means 12 weeks we have to go. Or else 12 days actually, right? 12 sessions. 12 sessions each with 2 hours. So that's how this is planned. And you can see the topics, right? There are 6 different areas. Actually, I didn't divide the topics according to the weeks or sessions. There are only 6 main areas, as you can see here. The nature of language and linguistics, consonants and vowels, phonology, phonotactics and suprasegmentals, the internal structure of words and processes of word formation, grammatical categories and word classes, and finally, lexical semantics, right? So now there are 6 topics, each area is given 4 hours. Okay, so that is how roughly this has been scheduled, but this may change here and there. Anyway, we are not exceeding this total number of hours, right? By the end of the last session, I definitely cover all these main areas, right? So when you look at these topics, hope there are some areas which are already familiar to you, as well as the areas which are not very familiar. Am I correct, right? Do you find any area which is already known to you or which is familiar to you? Any area when you look
Yes.
at this? Yeah.
Phonology, phonetics,
Word classes,
Word classes. Yeah. What else?
consonant and vowels,
Consonants and vowels. Mhm. Yeah. Sorry. And which means you know everything. Am I correct? You have the familiarity, right?
yeah, madam.
Okay. Well, so can I know whether
Yes,
there
ma'am.
is anybody among you who has done HND, High National Diploma in English?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. I
madam, have done.
Yes, madam, I did.
Ah, okay, right. So if you have done it, definitely you must have touched these areas, right?
Yeah, we have studied.
No one from Kurunagala?
Madam, me.
Sumaya, right?
Yeah, madam.
You know me then.
Yeah,
Okay.
madam.
Yeah, I remember you. Okay, yes. So
Happy to
fine.
see you, madam.
Sorry, pardon?
Happy to see you, madam, again.
Okay, right. So then, if you have done HNDE, of course, that will be an added advantage because they are in language structure usage of linguistic subject, which belong to the old syllabus now, right? Now we have a new syllabus. In that subject, you have covered almost all these areas, right? But basics, I should tell you basics, but this is top up. So this is a degree level. which means you need to know more than what you have learned in the diploma level. But that would be, if you have done HND, that would be an added advantage, I told you, because then you are already familiar. It will be really easy for you to catch up these points. Still, if you have not done HNDE, no problem, no issue, right? Because I'm discussing the things from the basic level, okay? From the basics. So those who have done these areas, done in the sense learned these areas, and also those who have not learned anything of these areas, never mind, I'll be starting from the basic level. Okay, right. Depending on the availability of time, I'll try my level best to start somewhere in the basics and then go into the advanced levels. Right. Okay. Then we will start our discussion, right? Yeah. Okay. So now today I'm going to start here. The nature of language and linguistics. Okay. So that is the first topic. And it will, if I just tell you something about the topic here, the nature of the topic, it is talking about the nature of language and linguistics, right? So in diploma, high national diploma in English also, you have learned about the language and linguistics, what is language, what is linguistics, and all these things. From in this course, in this module, you would be talking the same thing from different perspectives. Okay, right. Well, so this is the content actually, right? The content page that gives you some idea regarding the different areas I'm going to cover in this lesson, right? Under nature of language and linguistics, excuse me. Okay, so in this topic, basically you would be talking about language and linguistics in three perspectives, right? One is the nature of human language, and second, main area, the nature of grammar, and the third main area, linguistics and the components of language. Okay, so under the nature of human language, there are subtopics you can see I'm expecting to cover. Fundamental beliefs about language and linguistic science, the rule-governed nature of language, and animal communication codes. And when we talk about the nature of grammar, it will cover some definitions of grammar and fallacies. Fallacies means misbeliefs concerning grammar of any language. And the third area, linguistics and the components of language. So there we are going to discuss, I am going to cover about linguistics and components of language, or the linguistic levels of different levels of linguistic analysis in brief, right? Okay, so that is the area, and I hope you got some idea regarding the margins, what we are going to cover in the first topic there, right? Okay. Now, can I know from you, now there is another module actually, right? The book, a written book is available. So do you have that book with you all? Based on this linguistic structure of modern English subject? Do you have that module or that book with you all?
No, ma'am.
Ah, right. That's all
No, madam.
right.
No, madam.
Okay, fine. Now the thing is, I should send you the notes, right? Because now, you know, during the lecture, while listening and understanding, you can't be writing now, right? It will take another time and no use. No point in wasting time in writing. So I can send you the stuff beforehand, before the lecture. But now today I met you, right? So I didn't have any chance to access to you all. So I didn't send you the note. Today you can just follow the screen and listen to what I am telling. And then after that, I will send you these notes. So could you please, anybody suggest a means where I can share these notes with you all in future? Even not only this note, the notes of the coming lessons as well. If I can send them to you before the lecture, then it will be easy for you. By the time you come to the lecture, you can just have some idea about the content we are going to discuss and come to the lecture now. Right. So how can I send you the lecture notes?
You can send to the admin, madam. So they will send us through the WhatsApp or
Uh-huh.
LMS. They will share us.
Okay, right. So then I'll send the notes to Mr. Rishad, right?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, right. So you will receive then. Sure. So now after today's lecture only, I will be sending this note to the office then. Okay. So that won't be a problem. But next day, definitely I'll send the notes beforehand. I'll send the notes to the office. So you make sure you have your copy.
Madam, I have received 2 books from them. The Linguistic Structure of Modern English and Language and Linguistics. Is that
Yeah,
what you are saying?
Yeah, the thing is this, your Halima, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the one of the modules I was referring to now, the linguistic structure of modern English. But the thing is, Halima, I am not going to cover everything in that book. Even Mr. Richard and we two have come to an agreement there, because that book you can have and you can use it for further reference, right? You can just read it, no issue. But I have based all the notes on that book, but I am not covering every area in that book, every topic in that book, right? It's a little bit lengthy, and certain areas are not very much clear. Certain complications are there. So I'm going to avoid all these complexities, and I just make it short. Okay? But
Okay,
still,
madam.
if
Then
you
fine.
have the book, no worry, you can just go through it for your knowledge.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
But the thing is this, by the time any one of you logs into the meeting, right, for these lectures, better if you can have the note with you all and at least once go through it. Go through the note, then come to the lecture, then it will be really easy for you to understand and also to interact and just to answer the questions. So whatever you can do very easily if you have the idea in your mind beforehand. So I make sure to send you the notes. So you make sure to go through it before the lesson. Okay, it will be really easy for you. Right, then that is it. Right. So then let's start our discussion with this first topic, first subsection, the nature of language and linguistics. Under that, the nature of human language, right? Okay. So here you can find the information in point form mostly, okay? But the thing is this, I wanted to tell you this point as well before I start the discussion. When I send you the notes, it will be easy for you if you can have a hard copy before the lecture commences, right? If you can have a hard copy, then during the lecture, you can add certain points, extra informations, and sometimes examples, whatever you think would be important, which you can get from the discussion and which are not available in the note. Especially when you think about like this, when the note contains point forms, right? Information in point form like this, you will be easily expand these points if you have a hard copy, right? If you have a soft copy, it's not easy because you may be writing the things separately, and then the note is somewhere else and your extra information are somewhere else, then there won't be any combination or synthesis. So no use. Right? So you make sure to have a hard copy, then it will be really easy for you to study also these things later on. Right? Okay. Now, I'm going to start with the fundamental beliefs about language. Fundamental beliefs. Now, we are starting with language now, right? Language, and they are also human language. We are going to talk about the nature of human language. Right, okay, Shafiq, thanks for your comment. Right, the nature of human language in the sense now, when we talk about language, it is not only common to the human beings, no, right? Language is common to humans as well as animals. Animals are also using language, right? And we are going to talk about that point little bit later. Here in this topic, we are going to talk about the nature of the human language. Language used by the human beings, right? Okay, keeping that in the mind, let's think about some fundamental beliefs. Fundamental beliefs about language. What people are usually thinking about language, right? Actually, these are not issues. These are not problems, but these are some of the beliefs. What do you think about this? Right? Now, even some of you may have these conceptions, these ideas in your mind. Whenever you hear the word language, right? Whenever you see the word language written somewhere, sometimes now I here use the pronoun you in common, right? Not particularly addressing you people, in common, anybody. Right? Whenever you hear the word language or see the word language written somewhere, right? You tend to try to connect it with writing, right? Writing, equating language with writing. That is one of the strong beliefs that can be seen among the people, right? If language means it should be written. That's the idea there. If it is not written, there's no language. That much people try to connect these two elements, language and the writing. Now, writing can be anything in written, okay? It can be whatever you call a letter, essay, memo, a message, report, anything in written is equalized to language. So, if anything is not written, people are hesitant to believe that language is in use there. So they believe language is used only when you are writing something. That's the point I am addressing here, the first point, equating language with writing. So you need to understand, you need to identify this, right? Thinking whether this is correct or not. Do you also believe that, like it? That language is existing only in the written aspect? How do you think about that? Do you also have this belief with you?
Some languages may have no written forms.
Some languages may not have written codes. What kind of languages you mean?
I think so. I think.
So, I mean, you can think of anything, no issue, but you have to have reasons, data to prove. And I was asking whether you also have this belief. Or whether
No,
you have
madam.
this belief. Yeah?
No, madam.
No. Why? Why not then?
Because
believe?
without writing, we can convey messages with
How?
others.
How?
Sign language, through the sign language.
Is it
Then
so?
in that case, written is not important.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a part of the language.
Yes. Yes. So sign language, fine, you are correct, but you missed the most important medium of using language. What is that?
Oral?
Gestures.
No. Gestures we use, right? That's part of the sign language. That's
Oral?
part of oral, right? You speak. You use sounds. Actually, that is the primary medium where you use language, right? And the written aspect came quite later, no? Written aspect, rather than the written aspect, in linguistics, I think if you are aware about, know about the linguistics, right? The area of linguistics, the basic point in linguistics is that linguistic means studying language. So we study the spoken aspect of language. Basically, that is what is happening in linguistics. Rather than giving attention to the written aspect, or how to write letters and all these things, in linguistics, we pay our attention to how we produce sounds and how we perceive sounds. Oral aspect, that is the primary aspect touched in linguistics. Okay, and then writing comes, and also the sign language comes after that. But the common belief among the people is this first one. That's what I wanted you to understand here, right? Equating language with writing. So if anything is not available in writing, people don't want to admit the fact that language is involved there. That's the point, right? Okay. Another thing is connection between a word and the thing it names. That is also another fundamental belief, that there is a connection between a word and the thing it names. How do you understand this actually? This is addressing one of the most important characteristics of language. If I tell you the word, you would catch the idea, I hope, right? That word is not there. Arbitrary nature. Right? Arbitrariness, we say. So we say any language is arbitrary. But opposing to that, here you can find this fundamental belief that there is a connection between a word and its meaning, or the thing it names. Word is the, what do you call, symbol, right? Word is the symbol. And yeah, I will not be writing very clearly, right? Okay, word is the symbol, and the thing it names is the object, right? That is the object. So what do people usually believe? That there is a kind of connection between the symbol and the object it represents. And this symbol can be oral or writing symbol. Oral symbol or writing symbol. Oral symbol means it can be a sound. Writing symbol means it can be a letter. Right? So symbol can exist in both ways, either as a sound or as a letter. And then the point is, actually, what do you think? Do you think that there is a connection between this symbol and its meaning? Meaning means the object, which is represented by that symbol. Is there a connection? These are some of the questions you should ask from yourselves actually, right? While being in the lecture, there are certain areas coming in where you need to think of. And if you are willing, you can talk also, right? So here there's a point for you to think. How do you understand this? Do you believe that there is a connection between the symbol and the object it represents? Like, for example, I have the word dog, right? Dog, if I write here on screen, that is a written symbol, dog, D-O-G. And if I pronounce the word dog, that is the oral symbol, pronunciation, sounds. Okay, and you know the meaning. Object means this particular animal who has 4 legs and who has a tail, right? And who has 2 ears, short ears. That kind of animal we call dog. So my question is there a connection between the symbol, oral or written symbol, and that animal? Is there a connection? That's a yes/no question.
I think no.
No connection. Anybody? Okay. Any other person who may have a different view? Or similar view, whatever. What do you think? Is there a connection between the symbol and the animal, according to our example? Actually, there is no logical connection. That is the point here, right? There is no connection means there is no one-to-one relationship or logical connection. But still there is a connection. That is why I am calling that animal dog, and you also call it that animal dog. Because there is a kind of connection. But the point is that connection is not logical. Okay? That connection is not logical. Because in the animal, you don't find the letter, the word dog is written anywhere, nothing like that. Okay, so then why do we call that animal dog then? Because our parents are using like that. And why did our parents use the word dog to indicate that animal? Because their parents are using like that. So this pattern, right, this usage comes from generation to generation. That is why we are also using the word dog to indicate that animal, and even our kids will be using the word dog to indicate that animal. It goes from generation to generation. So we have a term for that by convention. Okay, so that is why we say language is conventional. Language is conventional. The symbols used in any language, right? I'm not talking about Sinhala or Tamil or English only. Any language, the symbols used in a language or in any language are conventional. Other than that, there is no logical reason between the why you should call that animal a dog, right? Between the symbol and the object, right? So if we come back to our point here, we were talking about the fundamental beliefs about language. Then some people believe, some in most of the people believe that there is a connection between word and the thing it names. It is correct, right? Partly. It is correct partly only. Because the word connection, you need to be clear, right? Connection means there is no logical connection, but still there is a connection based on the convention. This particular, characteristic we call arbitrariness. Arbitrariness of language, right? Arbitrary nature of language. Okay, so you must have heard this term. You must have learned also arbitrary. Arbitrariness of language means there is no logical connection between the symbol and its meaning or the object, right? Okay. Another belief, a foreign language is somehow perverse and idiotic, while our own language is natural and sensible. So this is another kind of general view, right? That some people have, I'm not telling all the people, some people are of this opinion, right? They just think that foreign language means not your mother tongue. Any other language. It can be even the second language, or it can be the language of another country. Somehow perverse and idiotic. Perverse in the sense it looks odd, right? Don't feel quite comfortable with it. Odd. And idiotic also. You know the meaning of the word idiotic, right? It comes from idiot, right? While our own language is natural and sensible. Our own language means here the mother tongue. So normally we romanticize mother tongue, right? We think that, okay, our mother tongue is the language which is logical and which is sensible, and we can express our feelings, whatever we feel, only through our mother tongue. And we are not feeling comfortable to express our own feelings using any other language than our mother tongue. So in that sense, foreign language will not be that much effective in expressing our feelings like that. Do you believe like that? Do you also have that belief? I'm talking about this third point. How about your experiences regarding this third point? I don't think that I asked a silly question. But oh no, okay. Right, there are so many types of languages. Mother tongue is there, right? First language, mother tongue, both are the same to some extent. And second language is there. And also foreign language, right? So from these different types of languages, mother tongue and the first language are the ones that are very much familiar to a person. And second language is also familiar to some extent. And foreign language may not be that much familiar. Okay, right. So then, which language do you feel most comfortable to express your feelings? When you feel like expressing your emotions, when you feel like blaming somebody, which language do you select? For example,
Our
Yeah.
mother tongue.
why is that?
It comes as a fluently it comes.
Yeah, you are quite fluent with your mother tongue. So easily you can express your feelings, emotions with your mother tongue. Right. Okay. So that's the point here. And some people go to the extreme believing that because of that fact, other languages, so foreign languages are not that much good enough or effective enough to be used as a means of communication. They are perverse and idiotic. You don't find any meaning in them, nonsensical sometimes. So that is also another belief, right? Now, I'm not telling that these beliefs are correct. I'm showing you some fundamental beliefs that are existing in the society regarding language, regarding human language. Okay, right. Okay. That's what I wanted to start with. Right. Okay, I'm going to the next point, functions of language there. Then we are coming to the functions of human language. Right. Here you can see a list of functions. One by one, you can just go through and understand, right? Language gives expression to our thoughts, right? Our thoughts are there in our mind, existing as concepts. And how do we express our concepts or our feelings or our thoughts in the form of language? So we decode, right? We put our thoughts into a code, and that's what you mean by decoding. In the communication process, speaker is there. No? Speaker is the one who is starting the communication, and he is the sender always. Speaker or writer, it's the sender. And then receiver is there in the other corner, right? At the other point, receiver is there, and receiver can be listener or reader. So the most important role of the sender is to encode the message. Encoding means putting the idea into a code. Code means language. So in that sense, language, the prime purpose or prime role of language is to give expression to our thoughts. In other words, encoding our thoughts or our ideas or our opinions, right? And language is used to transmit information, also known as its communicative function. So this is the most important function of language, communicative function. I communicate with you using language. So in communicative function or in communication, what happens is that we use language to transmit information between the sender and the receiver. Sometimes from sender to receiver and vice versa. Turn taking is there, right? In the next minute, receiver can become the sender and the earlier sender can become the receiver. So taking turns, transmitting information. That is what you mean by communication. Right? So that is the most important function of language, communicative function. And other than that, we can see language used to maintain social intercourse. Social intercourse in the sense some relationships among the people, right? At the social level. Like, for example, as in greetings or talk about the weather. Right now, just look at these two examples. Greetings or talking about the weather, right? Now, what do you think about these greetings? Now, you meet your friend early in the morning when you go to the institute or your working place and you greet the friend. Good morning, right? My question now is, do you have the honest need to greet your friend or wish your friend a very good morning? Do you honestly have the need? What do you think?
It is a kind of action to show that we are sociable.
That's it. Only
Yeah.
that, right? Other than that, we don't really greet, right? Because we meet our friend to our face, and just for the sake of maintaining the friendship, right? Social interactions, we just greet. That's all. So there is no communicative function, right? That's what I'm telling. There is no, you don't really want to transmit any information there in greeting. Just saying hello, hi, good morning, good afternoon to maintain the social intercourse. There's another example talking about the weather also. Okay, so you just think that when two unknown people are meeting, there are some common topics there taken into consideration, right? When two persons are not known to each other, when they are not friends, then what else is there to talk, right? Talking about weather, because weather is a common topic. Even if you know the other person or not, still weather is a common thing which you two can share between you. So is there a real need to talk now? Just think that you meet a person whom you don't know, but you have to be there together, maybe in the same queue, right? A queue to for an interview or queue in a shop or wherever. So you two are going to talk, but you don't know, but still you can talk about the weather. Do you think that there's real need to talk about weather? Today it's going to rain, right? Like that. But are you really interested in that? No. You are just telling so because you want to talk with the other person. Maintaining social interactions. Right? No communicative function there. Okay, right. And also there's another function. Language provides the raw material for works of literature. So that is obvious. Hope you can understand it, right? Works of literature means there are so many genres in literature, like narratives and poetry, drama, and these are the main genres. And within them, you can find so many sub-genres for all these things. Actually, for a person to provide or create a literary piece, right? Literary piece of work, language provides the raw material, right? With the language only, the person can come up with creative writing with the language. So that is clear, right? Without language, of course, there won't be anything called literature, no? Right? And also language is used to get others to do things. Like this imperative function, right? We can identify it to be from a grammatical point of view, imperative function. That means, you know about imperatives in grammar, English grammar. Imperatives are the commands, right? Go away, right? Please open your book, right? Like that, these are some imperatives. So in imperatives, what's happening? You are asking somebody to do something, or you are getting somebody do something, maybe on behalf of you or maybe on behalf of him or herself. So for that also, to get that kind of function done, tool language is used, imperative function of language, right? And there's another function, language is used to express emotions or feelings, to make promises, to ask questions, to bring about states of affairs. A whole lot is there. And so many different sub functions. like expressing emotions or feelings that are there in the inner mind, or not only that, just to make promises and to ask questions, to bring about states of affairs, to talk about these things, right? This is a vast array of functions you can find there. And the language also used to talk about to oneself, talk to oneself. Are you using language with this function? How about your experiences? Are you using language to talk to yourself? Or else, just think like this. Are you talking to yourself?
Yes, we talk.
Really? So how do you talk to yourselves? Are you talking to yourselves in the mind or loudly?
In the
Both.
mind.
Everybody.
Ma'am, in the mind, but I have seen some people talk to himself or herself with words. I
Yeah.
have seen they are talking
Loudly
alone
talk.
sometimes. Yeah.
Loudly talking, yes. Right. Now, if you are familiar with literature, especially drama, you must, if you have watched stage drama, you must have seen there are some characters who are talking to themselves. Now, in literary terms, that's called soliloquy, right? If you are familiar with Hamlet and all these things, soliloquies are there. And aside is another word, right? The people are talking to themselves. For that also, if we come back to our point, we use language, right? Okay, now that is loud talking. But usually we are talking, everybody is talking to themselves within the mind. But for that, we need language. For that also, we need language, right? But that's a different field of discussion. I'm not going to that far here. Here, our point is language is used to talk to oneself also, not only to talk to the others, not only to communicate with the external people, but also with inside, right? With himself or herself. That's there. And there's another last one. Language is used to talk about language itself, which we are doing now. And in one term, it's called meta-language. Meta-language means talking or explaining about language itself. Now, usually we have language to communicate. Now, that is the basic purpose. Communicative function is the basic purpose of using language. I use language now to communicate with you all. And you also use language to communicate with me, right? Okay, that is the basic function. But other than that, we can use language to talk about language itself, which I am doing now. Now, I am using the English language at the moment to talk about the nature of the human language. That is called meta-language. But in your everyday life, you don't find this function, right? When you are talking with your friend, do you think that you are talking about the nature of language? When you are leisurely talking with your friends or with your family members? Never, no. So we talk about language only for the teaching purpose and learning purpose, due to some academic matters, right? Academic purposes, meta-language. But still, that is another function of language. Okay, right. So there are a lot of functions. So you got some idea regarding the differences, right? Different. Now, usually we think about language to be used only for this one, communicative function. But other than that, you can find humans are using language for some other purposes as well, as we were talking now, right? Okay, fine. So that is it. And then we are coming to the next short topic, linguistic science. Because we are talking about the nature of human language, right? So don't forget that. Always keep that idea in the mind. Nature of the human language. Then we know human language consists of signs. And the word sign is familiar to, you know about this word, signs. In Sinhala, we use the word sanya. So what kind of a thing actually do we understand by the word sign? Signs are the things that stand for or represent something else. Or the meaning of a sign may not be the superficial meaning you see in it, or the outer appearance may not be that, right? It is the something. It is something that is represented by that sign. Something beyond, something which goes beyond the superficial face of anything is called sign, right? Underneath, there is a kind of meaning. It is representing something which is not visible. Something like that is called signs. Okay, so that's the deep meaning of sign. And if we talk about linguistic signs, right? Basically, linguistic signs are the sequences of sounds. Now, in a previous slide, I told you signs or symbols, right, are of two types, either oral symbols or written symbols. The same thing I want to tell here as well in relation to the word signs also. Linguistic signs, but here you have, they are sequences of sounds. Because reason is, in linguistics, basically we consider the spoken aspect of language, not the written aspect. Basically the spoken aspect. Then we, as linguistic science, we basically mean the sounds, oral symbols, not the written symbols, which means the letters. Okay, right. So then linguistic signs are sequences of sounds which represent concrete objects and events as well as abstractions. You know, not only sounds in isolation, right? We combine sounds together and we form words. And these words can represent sometimes concrete objects like if you talk about bottle, cup, table, chair, house, tree, moon, sun, all these words represent concrete objects, right? Concrete objects. And some words are there which represent kind of events like sports meet, party, wedding, etc. Events. And there are some other words that can represent some abstraction, some abstract qualities. Like, now you know about abstract nouns: happiness, sadness, kindness. These are some abstractions which are not tangible. You can't touch them. They don't have any physical existence, right? So we can combine sounds together and use them as signs to represent any of these, either concrete objects or events or even abstractions. But you should understand, whatever we represent, the basic is found among the sounds, right? Sounds are the basic element there when we talk about the linguistic signs, right? Okay, so when we talk about signs, there are three types there. You can find them here with the explanations also: iconic signs, indexical signs, symbolic signs, right? So I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes now, rather than I am reading the thing for you. I'll give you a small, very short reading time. Go through these three types and try to understand the differences among these three now. right? Iconic, indexical, and symbolic. 3 types of linguistic signs. So did you get some idea about these 3 types? Iconic signs, which resemble the things they represent. Resemble, because iconic signs are similar to what they represent. Actually, regarding iconic signs, we don't have this arbitrary nature. Arbitrary means there is no logical relationship between the sign and the object, no? But in this case, regarding iconic signs, there is to certain extent a clear connection between the, what you call, sign and the object, right? For example, photographs, diagrams, star charts, or even chemical models. What do you think? These are some iconic signs, right? Just take a photograph, right? Photograph of, we'll say, a scene, photo of a scene. Then when you look at it, you can just see, right? You can feel, you can visualize, and you don't have to visualize, of course, you can directly see the image. So it directly resembles the thing they represent. Even diagrams, when you look at a diagram, you can see the flows, right? It maybe can have a chart or flow chart or line graph or bar chart, whatever. And star charts, right? Okay. And when you think about the indexical signs, what is that? Which point to or have a necessary connection with the things they represent. Necessary connection, you need to understand it here with the use of these examples, right? Now, smoke to fire, indexical. Now, smoke is an indexical sign, an example for an indexical sign. So, when you see a smoke, what do you understand? There must be fire, right? In Sinhala also we have a saying, no, without fire there can't be any smoke, like that, right? So always smoke and fire are related. If you have the smoke, definitely you know the fire is there. And a weathercock to the direction of the wind, right? You know, weathercock is a particular equipment. You must have seen that, right? That cock-shaped equipment. That shows the direction of the wind there. So if you happen to see a weathercock anywhere, then you know the direction of the wind also. You can get to know easily by looking at the angle of that weathercock, right? And a symptom to an illness. So whenever you notice any symptom, definitely you can guess what kind of illness must be there, right? And another simple example, smile to happiness, right? When you see a smile in the face of a person, you know that person is happy. And if when you see a frown in the face of anybody, you know, there's anger or something like similar to that within that person, right? All these are indexical signs. Not necessarily linguistic signs in that sense, right? Especially when you talk about smoke, smile, frown, or weather, all these things, they are not linguistically important, but still, when we talk about the indexical category, these are good examples. Indexical signs, right? And third one, symbolic signs. Symbolic, they are only conventionally related to the thing they represent. Only conventionally. There is no logical connection between symbolic sign and the object. Whatever the connection available is decided only by the convention, right? And a flag to a nation. Now, you know, Sri Lankan flag represents the Sri Lankan nation. Right? So flag is symbolic because it represents that particular nation. And when you look at a rose, Okay, you know, it represents love. Which rose, actually? I have here mentioned only rose. But which rose? Do you think there are so many colors?
Red color.
Red rose. Yeah, right? Red rose is representing love. And a wedding ring represents the marriage. If you see the wedding ring of the, in the finger of a lady or even a gent, right? The relevant finger, you know that person is married. That is how some people try to find, right? Whether the person is married or not by looking at the wedding ring, by checking the wedding ring. Okay, right. So these are some symbolic. Actually, overtly, there are no relationships, right? There's no relationship between rose and love. No overtly relationship, no logical relationship, nothing. But conventionally, red rose is considered to be a symbol of love. So this word conventionally is important in that regard, right? Symbolic signs are decided by convention only. By convention only. Other than that, beyond that, no reason, no other reason. Unlike iconic signs or indexical signs. There you have more connection than that. Right? Okay, so hope you got some idea regarding the differences among these three types of signs. Okay, right. Then here you have some more examples for iconic signs. Yeah, I think I forgot. You have further examples for iconic signs in language then. Here I was introducing these three types of signs in general, and iconic signs regarding language. This is the best example. Onomatopoeic words, right? I told you iconic signs resemble the object, resemble the meaning they represent. So onomatopoeic words, they are the best example to talk that the arbitrary nature of the language is violated, right? Because onomatopoeic words have connection between, there is a connection between the onomatopoeic words and the words the meaning they represent by these words. Are you familiar with onomatopoeic words? Have you heard about them? They resemble the natural sounds they represent. So when you hear the word bow wow, what do you remember? Bow wow.
Dog.
Dog barking, right? And buzz,
Bees.
the sound of the bees, right? But of course, in Sinhala, that's a different word, like gumu gumu. Okay, but anyway, clap. The word clap, you hear the clapping, this one, right? And TikTok, etc. So there are so many words, so many onomatopoeic words. So here the important feature of onomatopoeic words is that they are similar to the natural sounds they represent. That's why we can consider them to be iconic sounds in language. Okay, right. And there's another example regarding word order. Word order, like Susie went to New York, Montreal, and Toronto. Sybil became ill and left the party. She ate dinner, read the newspaper, and watched TV. So, you know, simply look at the word order of these things, right? Take the first example sentence. Susie went to New York, Montreal, and Toronto. Where did she go first? She went first to New York. After New York, she went to Montreal. After Montreal, she went to Toronto. So, according to the order, you can find the word also. There will be a problem if I mention Toronto first, while she has actually gone to New York first, right? So, according to the real routine, right? The real way, how she actually went, the word order is arranged. Similarly, Sibyl became ill and left the party. So we don't say Sibyl left the party and became ill, no. Why did she leave the party? Because she became ill, not vice versa. And that is why became ill comes first and then left the party. Chronological order, right? Chronological order, mentioning the events according to the happening. Something which happened first is mentioned first. And then the second thing is mentioned next likewise. Chronological order is there, word order. She ate dinner, read the newspaper and watched TV. So when you look at this sentence, third one, you understand first thing is eating dinner. After that only reading newspaper and finally watching TV. So according to the chronological order, you can see the word order arrangement there. So that is also a kind of iconic sign which you can find in language, word order. Right? And there's another one, iteration. We call it iteration, that is repetition. Meaning is repetition. Sorry. Car repairs became more and more expensive. How do you understand the repetition of more here? You can find more and more expensive. Now, look at this. Car repairs became more expensive. One sentence. The other one, car repairs became more and more expensive. What is the difference in telling more once and repeating it? Do you find any difference there? What kind of a meaning do you understand by repeating more here? Anybody has any idea? Yeah. Why can't I simply say more expensive? Why should I repeat it more and more? You too may be repeating words like this, especially in such a situation. Any idea? Anybody has any idea? No. If I say car repairs became more expensive, okay, that's all, right? That is only one particular incident. They became more expensive. That's all. But if I repeat more and more, what do I try to give? What kind of impression? Gradually, they are becoming expensive, right? They were gradually becoming expensive. That gradual process is indicated by iteration here. Okay, so that is another example, therefore, for iconic signs. This repetition is indicating this the gradualness, gradual increase, right? Okay. Well, then indexical signs in language. Indexical signs, can you remember the examples about weathercock, right? So showing the direction of the wind, weathercock is an indexical sign because it shows the direction of the wind. Similarly, we can find some indexical signs in language also from demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns, we have two sets, this and that, right? This pen or these pens, that pen, those pens. So what do you mean by this and that there? We use the demonstrative pronoun this to indicate something which is closer to us. And in contrast, we use that to indicate something remote, not very close. I like this, I can say, indicating something which is closer to me. I like that. I don't like that. So that can be a demonstrative pronoun indicating something far beyond, right? Not very close to me. So this, that, or these and those are representing a kind of direction. Okay, right? And adverbs. Another iconic sign in language. Adverbs like now and then. Now means actually now. We are talking about the things at present now. And when we use then, it is not now, no, right? At whatever time, in the past mostly. So these adverbs, adverbials also have indexical value there, right? Third one, symbolic signs in language. So when we talk about the linguistic symbolic signs, almost all the signs in language are symbolic. Okay, all the signs. Right, now here you have this word arbitrary. The relation between the linguistic sign and what it signifies is arbitrary. Actually, this idea is brought out by the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure, right? He's a very famous linguist who has found this idea, who has come up with this idea. Idea means the relationship between the linguistic sign and the object or the meaning it represents, right? So arbitrary means actually there is no logical relationship, no logical connection between the linguistic sign and the what it signifies means the object. So using the words of Saussure, that is signifier and signified. These are the two words, signifier. Okay, I'll write them here. Linguistic sign is called, of course, I have trouble with my keyboard. G is not typed. That's the problem. Okay. I'll do it here. Linguistic sign from Ferdinand de Saussure's words, signifier, right? Hope you can read it. Signifier, and the object which is represented by the linguistic sign is called signified. F-I-E-D, right? Okay. So according to Saussure, then, there is no logical connection between signifier and signified, right? And he says signs are conventional. Only the connection between the signifier and signified is decided by the convention, that's all. And there is a tacit agreement among the speakers of a language. Now, tacit agreement means a kind of agreement which is there in the minds of the people. Okay, it's not written anywhere, no documentation. Everybody has an idea in their minds regarding the use of words. Example, apple stands for a particular fruit, right? There is no resemblance between the sound of the word and the appearance or taste of the fruit. No resemblance, no similarity between the sound of the word. Sound of the word means apple. Apple, with that sound or pronunciation, you don't find any similarity with the appearance of the apple fruit or taste. No similarity, no resemblance. That is what you mean by arbitrary nature. So signifier is the pronunciation, the sound of the word apple. Signified is the particular fruit. So whatever the connection that is available is only decided by the convention. Because everybody who is using the English language knows, okay, we should use the word apple to indicate that particular object, the particular fruit. That understanding is there in the mind. That is what you call tacit agreement. That comes from convention. Okay, right. Well, then I'm going to the next slide and I will be erasing these words. Is it all right if I erase these words now? Shall I? Signifier and signified, these are important terms for you. So you better take them. By the way, you are going to have this recording. Am I correct? Yeah. So I'm erasing the words, right? Shara, thanks a lot for your message, dear. But the thing is, I can't separate the keys from this. That's the problem, right? Can't get the keys out from this laptop. It's a different process actually. Okay, right. Well then, third one, symbolic signs in language. I was talking about symbolic signs. Yeah, continuing symbolic signs. Now, this linguistic agreement, I was talking about this tacit agreement earlier, right? This point. There is a tacit agreement among the speakers of a language, right? So talking about that agreement, sometimes we can observe this tacit or linguistic agreement can change over the time, right? Always it is not so. From the very beginning of the language up to now, it is not so. Because now you can see the evolution of the word cellular. Can you see here? Cellular is the word earlier people used, right? Cellular, mobile phone, right? Either cellular or a mobile phone. And later on, that word changed to cell phone, right? Cellular, clip, right? The word clipped and cell was there. And with the word phone, cell phone then. And also mobile phone, from that also the word phone was clipped and mobile. Either cell phone or mobile, like that. And nowadays, people are using smartphone. See the evolution, the development of the word, right? So this linguistic agreement or tacit agreement that is there within the minds of the people can also change time to time, right? Linguistic agreement is changed as well. Now look at this. How? See, there's another example there, Oriental. Earlier, Asian people were called Orientals. Right? And there's a famous book written by Edward Sapir. Right? Orientalism. And it was changed to the word Asians. Right? Nowadays, no one is using the term Oriental to refer to Asian, right? Then now look at the next example. Crippled individuals, cripple, the word cripple was used earlier to talk about these disabled people, right? And that term changed with the time being into handicapped or disabled people. Handicapped or disabled people. And nowadays, we are not using that term even, right? Even that term we are not using. We use differently abled. Differently abled. See the evolution of the term. And there's another example, manic depressive bipolar disorder. Manic depressive, this term is changed to bipolar disorder now. Right, so like these symbolic signs are not remaining fixed all the time. That's what I wanted to tell you here. They also can come under changes over the time, right? Then and there, with the time being, I mean, not yesterday, today change, right? These changes can take years, sometimes decades, but still they can change. There is a possibility for the symbolic signs in a language to undergo changes, as you can see from these examples. Okay, right. Well, so these are the three different signs in relation to language also. And here comes a small work for you, right? So you must be tired in listening to my voice. So now here comes a work for you. I will keep this on screen, right? You can read on screen and do this. Identify the following non-linguistic signs. These are not linguistic signs, right? Non-linguistic signs as iconic, indexical, or symbolic. Or sometimes as a combination of any two. It also can happen. Okay, right. So there are several different signs given in list. I'll give you a few minutes, try this. Okay, don't have to write this question, but just better to take a piece of paper and put the letters and write the answer in front. Okay, just do this as a practice. I'll give you around 7 minutes. Okay. Have you done something? Shall we see? Right. First
ma'am.
one, a wave of the hand. Right. Just saying goodbye. Wave of the hand. What do you think?
Symbolic.
Yes. That is symbolic. Correct. Good. Yeah. Second one, a picture of a cigarette with a red circle around it and a diagonal slash through it. You must have seen that, no? Right? What do you think about the nature of that?
Indexical.
Indexical.
Indexical? Uh-huh. Why indexical?
It is also symbolic.
Yeah. How can that be indexical? You must have seen that, right? Okay, that what is it? Do you still
Smoking.
think that it is indexical?
Smoking causes cancer.
What is that? What is the type of sign? Iconic, indexical, or symbolic, or any combination? What? Others? Shafiq, I didn't get your answer.
Combination of any two, ma'am.
Yeah, combination of which two then?
Iconic and symbolic.
Iconic and symbolic.
Exactly, right? Symbolic and also to some extent iconic also. It's a combination of iconic and symbolic, not indexical. Okay, you need to understand these, the meanings of these three different types of signs carefully. Roadmap.
Icon.
Iconic.
Icon.
Roadmap. Iconic. Yeah. Sometimes, to some extent, it can be symbolic as well, but mostly iconic. Yeah. A stop sign then? You know about stop signs that are there on the roads,
It
right?
is symbolic.
That is
Symbolic.
symbolic. Symbolic, yes. The footprints of an animal in the mud. Footprints of an animal.
Indexical.
Indexical.
Indexical. It is symbolic also.
I'm sorry, there was a connection issue, right? I had a connection issue, so I'll go back to the slides. Right. What do you think about this one then? The footprints of an animal. That's actually indexical. Indexical and also iconic. right? Next one, a jack of lantern. It's a kind of lantern. F. Have you identified these?
Iconic, ma'am.
Iconic. F. No,
No, sorry.
that is not iconic, right?
Symbolic, ma'am. Symbolic.
Symbolic, right? Symbolic and also indexical too, right? Thunder. Thunder, what do you understand? You know about
Indexical.
thunder. Indexical, exactly, right. And next one, the human figure depicted on the washroom door.
Symbolic.
Symbolic.
Symbolic, madam.
Symbolic, human figure depicted on the washroom door.
Indexical and icon.
No. H.
H is indexical.
Not indexical, right? I didn't, I can't remember whether you said iconic. Anybody said iconic? That's it. Iconic, right? Okay, skull and crossbones as a sign for poison, right? You must have seen skull and crossbones there. What do you think about that? In
That is
poison bottles,
symbolic for poison or something.
yeah, it can be symbolic for poison and
But
also kind of iconic as well, right? Okay. The smell of a skunk.
Smell is indexical.
Indexical.
You know, skunk, right? Yeah. What is that? How do you understand it? Exactly. That is indexical. Smell of a skunk is indexical. You know, right? That even the direction of that by smelling. Okay, so this is a very short test actually, right? Very small practice activity to understand clearly these three types of signs. And here comes something different, right? Okay, so look at this. All of the following linguistic signs, the ones I have underlined, as well as being arbitrary, are in part either iconic or indexical. So these are arbitrary signs, and at the same time, either iconic or indexical. So you need to say which, right? The balloons rose higher and higher into the sky. You need to think about this underlying phrase, higher and higher. So is it iconic or indexical? And the second one here is your quote here. The use of the word here. Is it iconic or indexical? Actually, all are symbolic because that's why I have mentioned here arbitrary, right? Arbitrary because all are treated. We can consider every underlying phrase to be symbolic, but other than that, you need to be clear with iconic or indexical side, right? Okay, just do this word also. And after that, we can move on to our next work. Next discussion after you finish this, right? Okay. Yeah. What do you think about higher and higher? More similar to iconic or indexical?
Iconic.
You
Indexical.
can get the idea by reading the whole sentence. Yeah. Higher and higher into the sky. The balloons rose higher. Now here you have words, right? The linguistic signs. All the things I have underlined are words or phrases, linguistic. So now you need to relate it to iconic or indexical ones. So the balloon rose higher and higher into the sky. Yeah. It should be. Yes. It is indicating a kind of direction to. That is iconic, right? Here is your quote. Here. What is this? Second sentence.
Indexical.
That is indexical. Correct. Fizzy. Do you want a fizzy drink? You know, fizzy
Iconic.
means with bubbles and all. Yeah. What is it? Iconic. Correct. And then one big and biggest. This pan is big, but I need the biggest pan. What is that? Iconic or indexical?
Index.
Indexical? No.
No.
That is
Iconic.
iconic. Iconic. Right. And the next one, huge. The building was huge. Huge, the word is emphasized, right? That is how it's written like that. Then what is it?
Iconic.
Correct. That is also iconic. Next one, he sneered and snickered. He sneered and snickered. What do you think about that? You can, I hope, visualize what he is trying to do. Snickered means trying to stop his smile with difficulty, right? Snickered, right? What is it? From these two, iconic and indexical, what is it?
Indexical.
No, dear. That is also iconic, right? Most of these examples are iconic. Next one, left. To the left is a picture by Michelangelo. To the left. What is the sign? That is indexical, right? Indexical. And the last one, cock-a-doodle-doo. We were awakened by the cock-a-doodle-doo of the rooster. Right. So what is that? Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Iconic.
That is iconic. Correct. Okay, fine. Then actually you don't have to memorize these things. Okay, you don't have to learn iconic sign, indexical sign, and symbolic signs by heart. No, nothing is required. But still have a clear idea in your mind regarding what kind of a sign do you mean by iconic or indexical or also symbolic. Now, we have taken examples from the general, right? The general examples, not from language itself. And at the same time, we have taken examples from language also. So from both sides, I think we have talked about these three types of symbols or linguistic signs. So therefore, improve your understanding and awareness about these three types, and that's enough. And as I told, don't think of memorizing, right? No need of that. Okay, right. So then signs are over, right? Our discussion on signs are over, and now from this point onwards, I'm going to another area, right? The rule govern nature of language. We don't have a long time left, but I will just start this, okay? So that in the next day, I can continue from this point onwards. Just be familiar with this area, okay? Here we are going to pay our attention to the rule-governed nature of language. Now, we are talking about human language, no, the nature of human language. So we were starting to talk about the fundamental beliefs about human language and what human language is doing under functions, and then the signs used in language, used in human language, right? And in this section, we are coming to talk about the rules that are governing the mechanism of language. So usually, any language is controlled by rules, a set of rules. Okay? Whatever mother tongue of a person or second language or foreign language or whatever language is manipulated or governed by a set of rules. Otherwise, a language cannot function, no, if there are no rules. Then in this section, we are going to look at this rule-governed nature of language. How the rules are governing, controlling the language. Okay, that is the aspect we are going to have a look. So we'll go through the first few points. Okay, then it will be easy for us to continue our discussion in the next session. Language signs occur in a system, right? When we talk about the rule-governed nature, this word is very important. And that is one of the basic characteristics of language also. Language signs occur in a system. Or else we say language itself is a system. Right? System in the sense there are certain subparts, subsystems we call them, which we can find inside the main system. And these subparts, so smaller units also, right? They themselves function on their own, and at the same time they function in relation to the other smaller units also. So system is a collection of these small units that function in connection to one another and also on their own, right? System is something like that. So if we come back to this discussion on language signs, then they occur in a system. Okay, actually this point has a connection to the discussion on linguistic levels, right? Levels of linguistic analysis, where we are talking about this phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. They are the smaller units actually that function within the whole system, which is called language. So none of the languages can function unless these smaller units function. And phonetics itself is a system, subsystem. And phonology itself is another subsystem. Morphology, syntax, semantics. So we are going to talk about these different levels somewhere at the end of this discussion. Okay, not today, probably in the next day. But what I want to tell you is that any language functions as a system, because the reason inside the language, there are some smaller units. So we can simply say language signs occur in a system. Because language signs can be sounds, can be words, can be phrases, can be sentences that function in a methodical manner. That is why we say language signs occur in a system, and that is why that is the basic reason for us to say there are rules. There are rules governing the language. Because everything functions in a methodical manner like a system, then definitely there should be rules, right, that are controlling the function of these linguistic signs. So we are going to look at this aspect in this section. And here we are going to talk about the grammatical competence and performance, right? And some examples for this rule-governed nature. And further, we are going to have a look at some characteristics like this innateness, creativity, and all these things about language. So let's continue, right? let's continue with this topic. I just gave a very brief intro only, but at the start of the next session, I will be talking about from the beginning about the rule governed nature of language. Right. So meanwhile, we are going to meet in the next day now, right? Next week, next Thursday. Before that, I will let you have the note, right? I'll send the note to the office. So you will receive it. Please have your copies. Then it will be easy for you to follow up the discussions in the coming sessions. Okay, then, right. So I'm going to wind up today's discussion. How do you find this module? Linguistic structure of modern English. Quite boring or difficult? Or what do you think about that? You think you can manage? Can get some idea? I just started only now. Right. Okay, Shafiq, thank you for your comment. But I just started and we have many more sessions to go. Right. So I expect your attendance and interaction like what you did today. So nice. And I'm really happy and we'll meet in the next day. Okay. So have a nice week. And good night, all of you.
Good
Thank
night,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Hi, ma'am.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night, man.